Imagine a time over 2,300 years ago when Alexandria's rulers dared to dream of an impossible feat, gathering all the world's knowledge under one roof. This audacious vision gave rise to the legendary Library of Alexandria, a symbol of human curiosity, intellect, and ambition. It became a hub where the greatest minds of the ancient world converged to exchange ideas and push the boundaries of understanding. But what began as a beacon of enlightenment was destined for a tragic and mysterious end. Was it truly consumed by flames, or is the story far more intricate? Join us as we uncover the fascinating rise, fall, and enduring legacy of history's most iconic library. The visionary roots of the library. The story of the Library of Alexandria begins with one of history's most famous figures, Alexander the Great. After conquering much of the known world, Alexander turned his attention to the creation of a vast and interconnected empire. But his dreams stretched beyond mere military conquests. As a student of the philosopher Aristotle, Alexander was deeply influenced by the pursuit of knowledge. His vision was not only to conquer new lands, but also to foster intellectual growth by creating a center where scholars could come together and share ideas. Unfortunately, Alexander did not live long enough to see his dream come to fruition. He died in 323 before Common Era, but his successor, Ptolemy I Soter, took up the mantle. Ptolemy, who had been one of Alexander's generals, sought to turn Alexandria into a hub of learning and culture. To achieve this, he embarked on the construction of the Great Library, and in doing so, he sought to create a place where scholars from all over the Mediterranean would come to study, write, and share their knowledge. The library's grand architecture. The Library of Alexandria was not just a collection of scrolls and books. It was a physical manifestation of the power of knowledge itself. Though there are no surviving records of its exact architectural style, scholars believe it may have blended Hellenistic Greek design with local Egyptian influences, possibly featuring grand columns, expansive lecture halls, and classrooms where ideas flowed freely. The library was not just a building, but a living, breathing center of learning, a symbol of intellectual ambition. At its height, the Library of Alexandria housed hundreds of thousands of scrolls, making it the largest collection of written knowledge in the ancient world. Ptolemy I and his successors understood the importance of preserving and expanding knowledge, and they were relentless in their efforts to bring as many texts as possible to Alexandria. Scholars were invited to live and work there at the expense of the Ptolemaic rulers, and they contributed their manuscripts to the growing collection. But the rulers' ambitions didn't stop there. They sought to acquire every book in existence, and they devised an extraordinary means to achieve this goal. The Ptolemaic policy, a global search for knowledge. The rulers of Alexandria were not content with simply waiting for scholars to bring their works. They took a more aggressive approach by establishing a policy that required all ships that docked in Alexandria to hand over any books they had on board. The books would be copied by the library's scribes, and once duplicates were made, the originals would be kept in Alexandria, while the copies would be sent back to the ships. This policy effectively allowed Alexandria to amass an unparalleled collection of texts from across the Mediterranean world, including works from Greece, Persia, India, Egypt, and beyond. The Ptolemies didn't rely solely on ships to bring in books. They also employed book hunters who scoured the Mediterranean in search of valuable manuscripts, even going so far as to intercept books being sent to other parts of the world. The rulers took measures to ensure that no rival city could create a library to rival Alexandria's by restricting the export of Egyptian papyrus, the raw material used to create scrolls. These efforts brought hundreds of thousands of manuscripts to Alexandria, many of which were unique or rare copies of ancient works. Callimachus and the birth of the catalog. As the library's collection grew to vast proportions, it became increasingly difficult to find specific texts. The Library of Alexandria wasn't just a collection of random scrolls. It was a treasure trove of knowledge, covering a vast array of subjects from mathematics and astronomy to philosophy and literature. In order to make sense of this growing mountain of information, A scholar named Callimachus of Cyrene created the Pinax, a 120-volume catalog that classified and organized the library's holdings. The Pinax was an incredible achievement, the first catalog of its kind, and it helped scholars navigate the library's vast collection. Using this catalog, researchers could find texts on any given subject, ranging from the works of Homer to the teachings of the ancient mathematicians. This catalog not only made the Library of Alexandria more accessible, but also laid the groundwork for future libraries and archives around the world. Groundbreaking discoveries and advancements. The Library of Alexandria was more than just a place to store knowledge. It was a center for intellectual discovery. Scholars from all over the ancient world came to Alexandria to study, debate, and experiment. Their work was not just theoretical. It had real-world applications that shaped the course of history. One of the most famous discoveries made at the library was by the mathematician and astronomer Eratosthenes. Long before Columbus set sail to find the New World, Eratosthenes demonstrated that the Earth was round and calculated its circumference with remarkable accuracy within just a few miles of its true size. This was a groundbreaking achievement that laid the foundation for future advances in geography and astronomy. Another major contribution came from Heron of Alexandria, who is credited with inventing the world's first steam engine, known as an aeolipile. This device, which used steam to create rotational motion, was a precursor to the steam engines that would power the Industrial Revolution over 1,000 years later. Though it wasn't immediately put to practical use, Heron's invention demonstrated the remarkable ingenuity of ancient scholars. For over 300 years, the Library of Alexandria flourished as a center of learning and intellectual exchange. It became a hub for scientific research, philosophical inquiry, and literary composition, attracting scholars from all corners of the ancient world. The beginning of the end. Julius Caesar's siege of Alexandria. In 48 before Common Era, a series of events began that would signal the beginning of the end for the Library of Alexandria. Julius Caesar, at the height of his military campaign, laid siege to the city of Alexandria. In an attempt to weaken the city's defenses, Caesar set fire to the ships in the harbor, and the flames spread throughout the city. For years, scholars believed that this fire was the primary cause of the library's destruction, with many speculating that the entire collection of scrolls was lost in the blaze. While it's likely that a portion of the library's holdings were indeed destroyed in the fire, ancient writings suggest that the library did not immediately disappear after the siege. Scholars continued to visit the library for some time afterward, and it seems that parts of the collection may have been preserved, albeit in a more fragmented form. The decline of the library, it seems, was a gradual process rather than a single catastrophic event. The slow decline and final destruction. Over the following centuries, Alexandria's status as the intellectual capital of the Mediterranean continued to wane. The city passed through different hands, first Roman, then Christian, and eventually Muslim. With each new regime, the library's contents were viewed with suspicion and even hostility. As religious and political power shifted, the ancient texts housed in the library were often seen as dangerous, heretical, or outdated. In 415 CE, during a period of religious tension, the philosopher and mathematician Hypatia was murdered by a mob of Christian zealots who saw her study of ancient Greek texts as blasphemous. This event marked a turning point in Alexandria's intellectual decline and symbolized the fading importance of the library and its vast collection. By the time the city fell under Muslim control in the 7th century, the Library of Alexandria had effectively ceased to exist. Some historians argue that the final remnants of the library were destroyed during this period, although the true details remain a matter of historical debate. And there you have it, the fascinating rise and fall of the Library of Alexandria. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, keep seeking, keep learning, and who knows, maybe we'll uncover the next great story together. See you in the next one.